My name is Dorottya Redai and I work here at Central European University. I was studying here. I did my master's in gender studies here and my PhD also in gender studies here at CEU. And I'm also an activist, not only an academic. I do voluntary work for Labrisz Lesbian Association. And 2020, so last year, about a year ago, a bit more than a year ago, we published a fairy tale book for children called Meseország, mindenkié, which would translate as Fairyland is for everyone into English. We have a school program in Labrisz which mostly reaches teenagers, so secondary school students, and we were wondering how to address smaller children with ideas of the respect for social diversity and tolerance and acceptance and problems of discrimination and social exclusion. And so we thought probably a fairy tale book would be a good tool for that. And we were thinking of having rewritten classic fairy tales, and each of them contain characters from minority or disadvantaged social groups. There's a number of social issues discussed in a way in these tales, like from child adoption through relationship violence to death of a parent. So many things that children experience in their own lives, but it's very difficult for adults to talk about these topics with children. The book also contains LGBT characters in 5 of the tales, and in a number of tales there are characters which kind of transgress traditional gender roles. Making the book was not really challenging. What was challenging is after we published the book. About a week after the book appeared on the market, the curious media performance happened. One of the representatives of the far-right group called Our Homeland, in English, Mi Hazánk in Hungarian, she damaged the book in a public media performance by she tore it apart and put it through a book or a paper shredder machine, and that gave such an enormous publicity to the book because a lot of people were shocked by book damaging. I mean, this country has a history of book damaging by Nazis, book damaging by communists. It's a sensitive thing to damage a book. Yeah, so public media jumped on this event, obviously, and the book was immediately labeled as an LGBT book, which it's not really. And then an enormous public debate emerged about whether children should be read LGBT books because they might influence their sexual orientation or gender identity. Very soon, even the Prime Minister spoke about this. It was never mentioned by these voices that such children, so children with non-heterosexual orientation exist, and the children who don't feel well in their physical sex, in their body, they exist. Also, nobody ever talked about children belonging to other minorities, which are also represented in the book, like Roma children, or even though an important aim of the book was to give tales to these children as well, because they don't usually find characters like this in traditional fairy tales. So a lot of people realize, like, hey, there's something going on here that is wrong. So, like, what's all this about a fairy tale book? It's ridiculous that children become homosexual from reading a story about 2 princes falling in love. But it's not only a commercial success, it has also grown beyond being just a fairy tale book. It has become a symbol of protest against these oppressive governmental measures and homophobia and transphobia and discrimination. Some laws were introduced after the book was published. The first such law was the one which took away the right from single parents to adopt children, and LGBT people could only adopt children as single parents before, but at least they could. But now it's the Minister for Family Affairs that has to decide whether a single parent can adopt a child. Families are families, and loving a child and caring for a child is more important than what gender the parents are. Now what will happen to these children who nobody wants? It is really bad for the children as well. There are children who nobody will want, and they will remain in the state system, which is really the worst for such traumatized children. I think that's what the Minister for Family Affairs should consider instead of discriminating, same-sex couples.